one more video for today. There is something great that Louise Hay says, and said there are a lot of reels lately they were always coming up for me. Maybe you guys have heard it, and it's an affirmation, and it starts with, from this problem or seeming difficult situation or challenge, only good will come. And it's a longer affirmation, but it's funny because I was sharing this with a friend earlier this week, and if something seems a little corny to me at first, though I know that it could very well be very useful, in fact I can know it's useful, but if I have it in my mind that, oh, this is corny as I'm saying it, I'm probably not going to approach it in that moment. But it came to me at the right time last week, and I used that affirmation, and it took maybe a minute or two, and a situation that I was kind of really nervous about actually resolved itself. And it's interesting because when you let go of what you want the result to look like, when you say that only good will come from this situation, it's essential to accept that what you call good could be so many different things. So if you said something kind of dumb and you're thinking, oh, I want to, preserve this situation, and I want to make sure this person doesn't think this of me because I said this, whatever. Sometimes you'll notice in hindsight that when you accept that only good will come from this, then you realize that there are so many ways that can come only good from that, because you don't know what good's going to look like. Maybe the person who you accidentally said something to was meant to see you a little bit differently, because that wasn't really the time for them to be in your life, and that's okay. Or maybe the person that you said something to, and then you affirm to yourself, only good will come from this, maybe that'll actually end up being just a funny story to tell afterwards, and maybe everything will be resolved from that. So you really don't know what the preferred end result is going to look like. And now there's a certain amount of letting go for this. You want to let go of your idea of what is the ideal outcome from this specific situation. The reason that we panic and we worry about what's going to happen is because we have this preconceived idea of, if this happens, that's a good outcome. If that happens, that's a bad outcome. But there's a parable or story that I was listening to actually yesterday, I think, and I forgot what it's called, and I don't know if it was I don't know where it was from, but it was the story about how a man answers maybe for everything that happens that's seemingly good or bad. The neighbors say, oh, that's such a terrible thing that happened, and he says maybe, and then something good actually came out of it, and then something good happens from it, and the neighbors say, oh, it's such a wonderful thing, and he says maybe, and then something else happens from that's not so great, and they say, oh, see, oh no, it was terrible after all, and he says maybe, and then it turns something really good. So just saying maybe and not defining things so quickly really opens up a whole world of things that we didn't even realize was possible, because we're holding on to it so tight in defining what's good, what's bad, and what's success, what's failure, so on and so forth. Thanks, guys.